Hey YouTubers, 95 Speed GTA. Tonight we're going to do a little project, and what the project's going to be is, it's not exactly a little project. It's a little involved, but don't be afraid by that word, a little involved. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a full tune-up on your 1998 Dodge Grand Caravan. This video is for the 1996 to 2000, and you know what I'll say, 1996 to 2004 Dodge Caravan, Chrysler Town & Country, and Chrysler and Plymouth Voyager. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to get started with the oil change, and then I'm going to tell you guys about doing the ignition tune-up, which is spark plugs and wires. The front's very easy and straightforward. Here's your ignition coil pack right here, which controls all six cylinders. The front's very straightforward and easy, and if you guys think for 1 second, how the hell am I going to get back there and take care of the back ignition wires and spark plugs? This is a nightmare. I'm not going to do it. Let me bring it to the mechanic. First of all, anytime you have to service the back of the motor, the wiper tray has to come out. Now, again, this isn't very hard. It's very simple. And once we get there, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It takes literally 10 minutes to do, 20 minutes for somebody that's never done it before and is very cautious. But once you get this tray out of the way, it's a very straightforward and simple job. But generally, there's not a lot of room to work in here. So remember that anytime you have to do extensive work to these engines, generally we take out the wiper tray. Okay, what you're going to need for the job is you're going to need a 13mm opening wrench, or you could use a 13mm socket and ratchet. You need a catch can, you need a light, you need a jack, and you're going to need jack stands. I'm not using jack stands. That's one thing I suggest you guys don't follow in any of my instruction. You're going to see that a lot. Sometimes I don't use jack stands. But when you use jack stands, the best place to put them are on the unibody rails, which on the left side, here's one, right there, and on the other one the same place, or if you get the car up high enough, you can put it on the cradle, on the suspension cradle. You're going to want to jack up right here, right in the middle of the car. There's going to be an engine mount, and you could jack it up from right here or right here, and this is the way I did it, and it stays up. Here is your oil plug, and the direction you turn, that's a little stuck. This is the direction you turn to get it off. And then once you get it loose enough, get that catch can right there and let the oil drain out. Now, once the oil is drained, which this one's drained already, you're going to expect the oil plug, and if the seal looks worn, or if it's leaking oil to begin with, what you want to do is go ahead and go to your auto parts store, and you can replace these plugs. They're really common to replace, and the one that you hold in your hand, I guarantee is not from the original car, especially if it has high miles on it. So we're going to put this back in, and then we're going to take out the oil filter. Alright, next what you want to do is you want to get your catch can right underneath the filter. Most of the time you can turn these off with your hands. Sometimes they gorilla it on. And what you could do is you can use your rubber glove. You could use rubber glove, or you may have to get one of these tools. This is an oil filter wrench. It doesn't come with the extension or the ratchet itself. It just comes in many different forms. But you can pick it up at your local hardware store or auto parts store. But this should come on its own. For this vehicle, as counterclockwise we turn it, and once we turn it, we'll see some oil leakage coming down. Here we go. Ooh, right at the end. So the oil's always been changed on time in this car, so every time we change it, it's always like a brownish color, like a dark brown, never pure black. You never want it that way. Alright, here's to the right the old oil filter, and to the left the new oil filter. Two totally different filters, right? Yeah. So, what happened? We got the wrong filter? No, that's not it. Depending on where you go, the last place I went to was a mechanic shop that put the small filter in. But every time I always did the oil change, I always got the big filter. These oil filters are very interchangeable. Now, can you use this type of filter even though you took that one out? Yep. Now you're wondering if it's going to leak. No. See the O-rings right here? They're identical. So when you screw these in, they're going to seal the same. It's going to be a little bit of an open lip out here, but as long as it's sealed right here, they're identical. The only thing that's going to be different here is you're going to actually have a bigger filter on a higher mileage engine, and that's pretty much what you want. Stock, this is most likely what it came with, but as the years progressed, and you know, the Dodge Caravans got newer and newer, and due to different component sizes and stuff, it came with a smaller filter. So don't freak out if you ever see this when you're doing an oil change, because all you really have to do is, if you line it up, you turn it upside down, and you put it on top of the other seal, it's perfect. So, next thing we're going to do is, since we got the old one out, we're going to take some of the used oil, which some people are a little weird and they don't want to use the used oil, and they want to use new. So you're going to take oil, dab it around your finger, and you're going to wet the O-ring. The reason why you want to do this is when you put it up, and when 3,000 to 5,000 miles comes again, and you want to take it out, this keeps it lubricated, so when you twist it off, this doesn't stick on to that. See? Screws right in, and I have a habit of putting a date on the filter. So today is February 20th, 2013, and it was done when the car had 191,423 miles. Now, okay, so now with the engine oil totally empty, what we're going to do is we're going to put oil in. On the 3.3 and 3.8 liter, this is where your oil goes. You can get yourself a funnel. Make sure the funnel is clean. And this all depends on what type of oil you like, but here is my regular oil that I get. It's 5+ quarts. Okay, this car takes 5 quarts of oil, and so there's no guessing work. You're gonna put this whole thing in, and you're gonna measure the dipstick, and it's gonna be overfilled a little bit. That's okay, because as soon as you start the car, it's not gonna be overfilled anymore, because the oil is gonna go through the engine, and that's the way it's gonna be. Alright, so we're going to put the cap back on, clean up any spillage, which we didn't have, then we're going to pull the dipstick. Never read the first reading, it's always false. Put it in, take it out, and if you could see, which it moved a little bit, but it's over at the max, so it's a little overfilled. And don't freak out, like I said. Start the engine, let it run for like a couple of minutes. Start the engine, let it run for about 10 seconds, then shut it off, and make sure you're on a level surface, and then check the oil again, and you'll see that the level's perfect. So, YouTubers, that's how you change the oil on the car. That's how you change the oil on your 1996 to 2000 Dodge Grand Caravan, Chrysler Town & Country, and Plymouth Grand Voyager. Now we're going to move on to the tune-up. Hey guys, we're back with my 98 Grand Caravan tonight, and we left off, before I went on vacation, on taking a wiper tray out.
And well, we're going to answer the question on how the heck you get the rear spark plugs out of these 3.3 to 3.8 liters. You figure if you just take the wiper tray out, it would be really simple, right? No. If you have really skinny hands, and if you're able to, it's possible that you can get behind there with a ratchet and with a with a socket and ratchet. But I did this actually on a on a 2003 Dodge Grand Caravan with a 3.8, and the 3.8's plenums are a little different, so it'll actually allow you to get behind there. It's a little tight, but I was able to do the tune-up without removing anything, so it was pretty easy. But as you know, these 96 to 2000 vans, the best thing to do is to take the wiper tray out for anything that you have to do in the back. It's not a lot of work, and it takes maybe about 10 minutes to take out and put back in. So there's two ways to do this, guys. You could do this from up top, or you could do this from the bottom. Now, since a lot of you that are watching this video are probably do-it-yourselfers, and you're doing it at home and you don't have a car lift in your garage, my suggestion to you is to do it from the top. It's pretty straightforward and easy, and for any of you guys who have arms like this or bigger than mine, you could do this one of two ways from the top. First of all, you need to take this off. You need to take that bracket off. That's the alternator bracket. You need to take that off, and a guy like me with arms like this, I could probably do the job, take the plugs out just by taking that bracket off. Some of you guys with bigger arms, or ladies, whatever the case may be, you may have to take the move the alternator back or take it out. And it looks like there's a lot of room behind there where you could just push the alternator back. I don't think you need to take it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some tools. And here's the random Sirius satellite radio remote that is always out. I actually turned the Sirius thing around so I could listen to music. So this is what we're going to need. You're going to want to get a ratchet, and you're going to want to get a 15 millimeter socket, and you're going to want to get a 13 millimeter socket, and you're going to have a 15 millimeter bolt right there, and you're going to have the 13 millimeter, two of them right there. Once you get them out, we're going to stop right there, and then I'm going to show you what else to do. After you get them out of the way, what you're going to do is, for one, you're going to make sure your battery is disconnected. You need to do this because anytime you're messing with the vehicle's electrical system, you have to do it. Now, granted, we are taking out the ignition wires and everything like that, and we are messing around by the alternator, and there is a positive wire behind the alternator, so you don't want to mess around. So disconnect the battery, and then we're going to get to the serpentine belt. Alright, for those of you who are wondering, okay, what do we do next? For those of you who are wondering, how do we get the serpentine belt off the car? Now, again, most of you guys probably don't have a serpentine belt tool, because this is either your first time working on a car, or you just don't possess a tool like that. If you want to get into working on your own car, my suggestion to you is to get a serpentine belt tool. I think they're about $18 or $20. They come in it comes with a bar and a variety of different fittings on it for working on multiple cars. But here's a little trick that I learned from actually a mechanic a long time ago on how to relieve the tension from your serpentine belt system if you don't have the tool. First of all, on the tensioner itself down there, that's a 15 millimeter bolt right there. And to relieve the tension off of the tensioner, what you have to do is you have to pull it down. When you pull it down, I don't know if you can see that, it relieves the tension from the belt. Now, sorry about the lighting. I figured that this light would be good for the job, but it's not, and I'm going to change that out in a minute. So what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 wrenches, and you're going to set it up just like this. And the reason why you want 2 is because it's gonna give you leverage. So you could just grab it like you see me doing with my 2 fingers and just pull it forward. This tensioner is a little old, and a lot of the times these tensioners are under a great deal of tension. So, use caution when you do this. It's not going to harm your wrenches. And if any of you guys just want to use the regular one wrench down there, you can also do that. Just once you relieve the belt tension, be careful when you're putting it back up, because it could, snap back at you. Not like, with great force, but just be careful, because the fuel line's right there. So, what we're going to do is we're going to pull this forward, and as you can see, the belt tension gets released. And what you want to do is just take the belt off the top of the alternator, because most likely we're not going to take the alternator out, but we're going to push it back. So here we go. Next, what you're going to want to do is you're going to take a 15 millimeter. You could take a ratchet or even a 15 millimeter wrench, and you're going to turn this counterclockwise till it comes out. Okay, now since there's no tension on the alternator, you can do this. It's a little rusted here. We're going to clean that up a bit. We're going to stick that right over here. Then we're going to lift the plate out. We're going to put the plate off to the side. Okay, so now here's our little access to the back. Am I going to have enough room? Let's find out. Alright, so once you get that done, what you're going to do is you're going to take your 15 millimeter socket or wrench, and you're going to go on the bottom here. And there's going to be, you see that bolt right there? That's the bottom of the alternator. You're not going to take it out, but you're going to loosen it. So just turn it until it's loose. And then after that, watch. I'm going to take it. I'm going to push it back as far as it'll go. Okay? So, as you can see, there wasn't enough room for me to stick my hand in there, so we just got to push the alternator back, and as soon as we put our hand in, we could reach on one of the spark plugs, which is right here. We dig in a little deeper, we can get our hands on the one in the middle. Now, the other one, that's all the way over here. If you can't reach it over there, you can reach it right through here on the other side of the engine. Let's see if I can get it. There it is. You see it right there? It's like right there, and you can grab it with your hand. Even if you got to move some things out of the way. I mean, guys, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but what am I doing? I got like maybe, ever since I took this out, I got, what did it take me? 5-10 minutes to pull the alternator and the bracket back. It beats being on the floor. And not only that, I've read some of the write-ups on doing it on your back underneath the car. You have very, very limited room. In my opinion, this is the way to go. So we're going to start taking the plugs out. Okay, I removed the wires in under a minute, and I was able to do, first of all, let me tell you about the firing order, okay? The fronts, this is cylinder number 2, this is cylinder number 4, this is cylinder number 6. You'll find this type of firing order in a lot of V6 models, American cars. The back, the first one, the first spark plug is 1, the one in the middle is number 3, and the one over here is number 5. Now, I was able to take all 3 of these out in probably about 30 seconds. They're going to come out with these metal pieces. These metal pieces you got to hold on to because you're going to be putting them back in. What they do is, I think they're spark suppressors or something like that, or I don't actually know, but if I figure it out, I'll put it into the video. I mean, I know what they do, I just don't know the exact definition. So, again, blue tape or something cheaper, because this shit's expensive. I just happen to have a lot of it. Label them all. Cylinder number 3, cylinder number 5, cylinder number 1. Cylinder 1 and cylinder number 3 I took out from this side. Number 5 I actually had to go under here and grab it. It's really easy. You just go in through right here in between the dipstick. You could put, as you can see, you could put your entire arm in here, and you can even bend your elbow, and it's right there. You feel for it. And what you want to do is, when you grab these things, you want to grab them, and you want to wiggle them out, and wiggle them out in a circular motion while pulling up, and they'll come right up. Don't stress yourself out about it. And whenever you're going to take these off, we're going to leave these off to the side. And now we're going to concentrate on getting the plugs out. It's probably going to be the same exact way as we took out our wires. So I'm going to put you guys back up on here. We're going to get rolling. Okay.
So we're on the first plug here. You're going to notice there's not really a lot of room to work. So if you have like a really small ratchet, that would be good. If you want to take the alternator out, that's good too, but you don't really have to. See, we already got it loose to the point where I could take the ratchet off. Now I just spin it out. You can do this for the rest of them too. Beats doing this on the ground. Let's see if you guys can see. Alright, that's one plug down. And guys, just to let you know, before you take out these spark plugs, if you got a compressed air, spray some compressed air back there.
Oh yeah.
Take a look at this, guys. Here's the plug that came out. Seen better days compared to this one. It's definitely time.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to get the number 3 plug. Because now that you got the number 1 out, you're going to be like, how the hell are we going to get number 3 out? Well, this is the most challenging one, and I'm going to try to get the camera in here, but it's possible because I just did it. So before you freak out, here's how you do it. You pretty much have to hug the engine, and what I mean is you're going to have to put your left hand in there. You put the socket on first on the spark plug. Then you put the ratchet on. Now, in order to do this, you need both your hands behind the engine. So, let me shine the light and show you what I did.
Hopefully you guys will be able to see this. I'm going to try to route you guys in. Oh, God. Really expensive video camera getting shoved in your engine. There we go. Hold on. Almost there. Alright. Hold on. I gotta get a better spot. Okay, you see, here she is. She's sitting right in there, and this is how I did that. You see, here's my right hand, here's my left hand. So this is proof that you could fit both your hands behind the motor. What I did was I put the socket on first, then I got my best ratchet. Guys, if you have a shitty ratchet, you're gonna be cursing because it's pretty much, it goes like this. Click, click, click. See that? you got about almost a quarter of a turn. That's all the room you have right here. So now I got this loose, and make sure your ratchet has a button up top to where you can just press the button and just release it from the, I can't do that because my hands are full. You can just release it from the socket, because now the spark plug is loose, and now I'm ready to take it out. So just to show you guys, this can be done regardless of what anybody says, and a full tune-up can be done up on top of the engine. And right now you guys are right behind the engine, so that's time to get you back up here with me. So I hope my engine looked good back there, but now we got it loose, and now I'm going to do the number 3 cylinder, and then we're going to do the last one, which is easy. So keep in mind, the back is the hardest part, obviously. The number 3 cylinder is the hardest. Is really the hardest. So here we go. Alright, as we take them out, we put them in. So here are the next tools you need. You need a spark plug gapper. You need to get this. I got this because I do a lot of tune-ups. This is anti-seize lubricant. You can get them in little packets just for your one little individual job. Excuse me. And it comes with a brush. I'll show you what to do. I did this already, which I shouldn't have, because I like to show you guys everything. But anyway, you take this out. It comes with a brush, the anti-seize, and you brush it on the threads, nice and even. You don't have to glob it on. And then you put it in. This is so it doesn't lock to the threads. So when you go to give the car a tune-up again, you don't have a problem. Now next, these spark plugs. Some people say that these come pre-gapped already for a specific application. Well, you got to get a gapper anyway, because you have to see what the gap is of this, because this car calls for a spark plug gap, which I believe is right here. This car calls for a gap, which I'll show you. If you guys are in front of the car, whoops, you want to look right here. Move this shit out of the way. Give me a sec. Alright, here we are, right here, and it tells you 3.3 liter spark plugs, gap to 0.05 inch gap. The original plugs for this car were RN1 4PM-P5. I believe that's not even, oh, I think those are platinum. So these are champions. These aren't platinum, they're something else. Use platinums, because they're good for like 100,000 miles, and you really don't want to do this every 20,000 miles. This is a pain in the ass. So we're going to check them out, make sure that it's at 50 thousandths of an inch, or make sure it's at the torque wow, listen to me. Make sure that it's at the specification it's supposed to be. So we take this is your inches, 50 thousandths, put it in, goes past a little bit, goes to 53. Now if you look on some websites, you'll see that these spark plugs have a gap range of I think it was 0.045 to 53. Obviously we just saw that this car calls for 50, so when you see this, you could leave it as is, but I don't. And what you do is you take your top here, okay, you give it a couple of taps, then you redo it. It's a little, hold on. Be careful with this, especially with platinums. Okay, see? Now it's exactly at, well, almost. Yeah, there we go. It's exactly at 50. That's where you want it. And once you gap it, put them in. Alright, so 135 is done in the back. All plugs have been changed. And like I said before, for the 5th cylinder plug, you can go right in here and you can get to it.
and you have a lot of room. Now, look, as you could tell, I did this whole job with a 1/2-inch ratchet. I used a 1/2-inch ratchet because I have a lot of leverage. It's long, so you can only imagine what you can get away with a little knuckle buster or a little 3/8 that's like that big. So this is what I used. 13/16 was the spark plug size, and the backs are done. Now, before we move to the fronts, we're going to replace the wires for the back to make sure everything is done with the back and button everything up, and we don't have to deal with the back anymore. Everything else is simple after that. So let's get to the wires. Alright, so this is just like how I did the Grand Prix, but this one I got a really good set of wires. These are Bosch wires. I got this because, well, this car is my daily driver, so and nice clean wires here. And look at that. You see how it has the protective I forgot what it's called. It's got the protective plastic on it, the tubing. The new one comes with it. So what we're going to do, loosen these up. First set of wires I've ever seen like this before. Alright. Now this is gonna be pretty easy because only the back wires have this tubing on them. So what we're gonna do, same thing like I did with the Grand Prix. I'm gonna lay them all out. Okay. So let's start off with the first one. Get the box out of the way. Alright, now remember, this is why I told you to label them. Let's get that up. Okay. So we got cylinder number 5 right here. Cylinder number 5. Now let's wait to do that. We got cylinder number 3. Cylinder number 1. Let's see. So let's do number 5 first because that's the furthest. Get that off from there. That off. Number 5, just so you guys, if you didn't label it, number 5 is this one here. Coil packs right here. It's this one. The first one right up on top. Cylinder number 5. Don't forget to take this off, you need it. Put that off to the side. Alright, so I know it's not that one. Let's try this. Nope. And we have a match. Take the old one before you forget. Throw it away. Mount the plastic down towards this end. Take the tape off this. Alright, so this is critical, so remember this part that's open like that, that goes towards the spark plug. This goes on here like this. See, it's got to look like that. The metal in between the rubber. Then we're going to route it through. Down. Yep, push to hear it click. Alright. Make sure that tubing routes all the way down. It's like a heat shield. It's on the bottom. Route it through to here. for the click. Click. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next one. I just got to plug you guys in. The battery's getting low. Okay. Next is number 3. And that's right here. First, second, third. Third one in, up top, closest to the alternator. Take this off. Make sure you throw these away so they don't confuse you. Remove that. It's a little shorter. Sometimes these wires aren't 100% a match. Maybe this is about right. It's a little shorter. Take the old one, throw it away. These are old ass wires. Been in here way too long. Remember, that's how it's got to look. That's the cylinder number 3. Route it in. You can tell when Chrysler doesn't think of things. Especially when future maintenance is in mind. Cylinder number 3. See? Make sure this is down. Click. There's a click. Alright. And the last one, which obviously is going to be the easiest, is number 1. And this is right here, so it's in between the two. It's right here in the middle. There's no choosing, because this is pretty much the only one left. That's why I gotta clean up. Gotta make sure it's down there. this one. Make sure that's in. I had the looms wrong. The looms are the pieces of plastic that hold the wires in place. Okay. Wait for the click. Okay, the backs are in. Now we can put the alternator bracket up, clean everything up out of the way, do the fronts, and get done.
Hey guys, so once you get the plugs in, that's pretty much how it goes. I didn't necessarily show you guys how to do the front plugs, but it basically works the same as the back, just a hell of a lot easier. You take the plugs out, you gap the front plugs, and then of course you just put the plugs in. But basically this video was to demonstrate that the front plugs, the rear plugs and wires can be done from the top of the vehicle. You just have to do it in the order that I showed you. So anyway, YouTubers, this is 95 Speed GTA. I hope you liked the video and I hope it was helpful. Remember, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or just comment on the page. Please rate, subscribe, and again, any questions, please let me know. Have a good night, guys.